the first battle of this arc, I guess, Mitsuki, Boruto has to overcome Mitsuki there. Like, would that be it? I don't know what else it would be in this regard. Like, but if that's the case, I feel like that's following Boruto as the protagonist in that case. So then I'm like, okay, we haven't gotten to the midpoint there because Boruto's like not involved yet with the Shinjuu invasion. So I don't know.
Man, this really, this pisses me off because I'm saying this pisses me off, and I wouldn't say this. The freaking bullshit they did in the first few chapters with Boruto refusing to say at all what's going on when he knows what's going on. Because that's not just for the characters in series, the mysteriousness, blah, blah, blah. It's for the freaking audience so that we know the goal. We don't know what Boruto's even trying to do. We know he was trying to stop the Shinjuu for some reason, because it's gonna spell the end of the world, whatever that means, whenever that's gonna happen, however that's gonna come about. But what's he even trying to do now? The Shinjuu are here. Is he trying to stop the Shinjuu? Seemingly. How? Why? What does that mean? What does that look like?
And then we're gonna get I feel like it's a small side change, and then you get into Boruto. Like, in terms of Boruto's overall goal in this arc, this is when you get into I guess contradictory moves. Like, first, Boruto, if he wants to prove himself, well, he doesn't want to talk to Shikamaru. And he doesn't want to engage Mitsuki. He tried to run away from both. The two of them just forced him to do it. So it's like, okay, Boruto's not trying to prove himself. And then in regards to Kawaki, he ran away from Kawaki the first 2 times. Why did he even give Kawaki the time of day this third time in chapter 9? Like, why didn't he just beat him up in chapter 6 or whatever, 7, whatever chapter it was? Chapter 8, I don't know what chapter it was. Whatever chapter Kawaki was flying over the village looking for him. Why didn't he just engage him? What difference was it this? Like, first of all, of all the times, why did he engage with Kawaki when the Shinjuu were invading? But he didn't engage with Kawaki when it was a peaceful day and he had all the time in the world.
When he should be able to sense Kawaki, mind you, considering he has every other time.
Exactly. So I'm just like...
It's not like he was focused on something else. There was no other thing going on. He was just chilling there.
He was really looking at Jura's wood style.
Yeah.
Like,
he was looking at his aesthetics. He was like, again, oh my god, this is aesthetics.
Is this the aesthetics I read about? But yeah, it's like in Boruto's actions, not only are they contradictory, it just doesn't pinpoint us in any direction in terms of a goal. Because on one hand, he's busy trying to not prove himself because of the Shinjuu, I guess. And on the other hand, he's giving Kawaki the time of day instead of focusing on the Shinjuu.
Now, I will say, it feels like the goal should be, because of Jura being the antagonist, Jura wants to devour Naruto, diametrically oppose that. The goal should be not devouring Naruto, or preventing it, stopping him from doing that. If that's Boruto's goal, first of all, is Boruto even aware Jura wants to do that? No.
Second of all, I don't found out about Himawari. He didn't even know about Naruto.
And so it feels like what they tried to do is say the farthest thing from Boruto's goal. It's just Jura choosing that he wants to eat Himawari first now.
No. The farthest thing from Boruto's goal is Kurama being inside Himawari. I think this is what I'm saying. This is where, again, the whole identity concept in this arc is really nice and it's really good. And seeing the contrast with Boruto and Kawaki thing, I think that's very good. They're doing a good job with, especially Kawaki. I think that if there's one character I feel like they're doing a good job with in that regard, it is Kawaki. But in terms of this art, it's just I don't know what the story is. I don't know whose story I'm following. Like they're just events are just happening. Like remember what you said about JJK? There's just fights happening, but there's
Yeah.
no reason behind them.
Yes.
This is worse.
Bro, I was thinking this the other day. JJK, I hate to say this. This crushes my soul. JJK, for me, not just for other people, for me, is now arguably better than 2 Blue Vortex.
I think there's more story behind JJK than Two Blue Vortex. Now, granted, JJK, so this is where you get to like likable stories or likable like a series, maybe would be the better way to put it. So JJK has, I think, a fantastic like world. It's got very intriguing characters, abilities, a world behind it, lore behind the history in there. It's got all that stuff in spades, a lot like Naruto. Like it's interesting. That's why people are so interested, because it's a cool freaking world. The problem is, especially like later on, it's like, well, what is the story? Like, I think there is story there. I don't think it's as captivating as Naruto's by any means, but I think there is some story there. But like with Two Blue Vortex, I'm like, never mind the Omnipotence arc. I don't know what the story is in Two Blue Vortex. Whereas at least in freaking JJK, I can come up with some bullshit answer.
Like, I'm just still sitting here wondering how the farthest thing from not eating Naruto is not eating Himawari. Like, I'm just trying to draw the connections here.
Yeah, no, and it's like, and you can't use that as Boruto's goal, because Boruto going into this arc didn't even know about, and like he doesn't even know. Like if you want to say, oh, he indirectly knows Jiro was after Naruto because Shikamaru said, hey, seems they came here. Let me actually see what Shikamaru says real quick. I think Shikamaru said like, hey, they came here following Naruto's trail. Ring any bells? In chapter 9.
Even then, even if he wants to protect his sister, and 2 Blue Vortex, in this arc, we don't see why, other than the fact that we just hear that they're brother and sister. Like
That's where you get into the whole like it's a different
knowledge.
series thing.
Yeah. I don't care if they're brother and sister. Why does he want to save her? Because what does being Boruto's sister mean to Boruto? This gets into the problem that me and another screenwriter have with the series Solo Leveling. The main character's in the hospital. I don't freaking care. The main character does. I don't care if the main character's mom is in the hospital. I don't know her. I don't know their relationship. We don't see the main character. Like, he just goes to visit her. But, like, she's unconscious. Like, she's just in a coma. Like, why do I care?
That's kind of like Sumiki in JJK season, the last season. It's just kind of like, we don't know Sumiki. We just know, oh, that's Megami's sister.
Yeah, like, you gotta give me something there, a backstory or something. If you're just introducing a character's mom and being like, this is a character's mom, they're in the hospital, this is why the character's doing that, you need more than that. You can't just have that, because I don't know what that means to the character. Why are they doing this? I see what they're doing. I see that it means this much to them. I need to know why it means that to them. Just being
exactly.
their mom.
And it's like, obviously, it's like, well, yeah, they're sisters, but you got to give us, because it's a story, you got to give us more than the obvious. So what did that sister do for them to make them feel this much? You know, it's just like, you got to give us an actual thing in the story besides the obvious, because otherwise it comes off as very superficial and lazy, really. But it's like, for example, like if you want to talk like brotherhood, like Boruto and Kawaki, you know, they're not just them calling themselves brothers and having that bond. It's not because Naruto said, hey, you're adopted, therefore Kawaki and Boruto are brothers now. No, it's because of everything they've gone through. You like look at freaking every single freaking scene of Kawaki. I think a really good one is when he burns himself against Momoshiki. Kawaki starts having these flashbacks about various scenes with Boruto, and like that's when you can really feel like why Boruto means something to him. You know, like that's different. Imagine if they cut that out, which by the way, let's get to the Gene thing, and it's like Ikimoto's done it before. Like, do stuff like that. Show us why. You know,
this goes into like the driving force, the motivation behind the goal. Okay, they're brother and sister again. Why does Boruto care they're brother and sister? I can apply my own feelings to say, oh, this is why I like my own sister. You can't do that here because you're your main character, bro. And it's too late to do it now. You should have already done it in terms of the story. The thing is, you can speculate. You can say the reason Boruto cares this is his sister. Not that. The reason Boruto wants to save his sister is because he loves her. First of all, we don't know how much. Second of all, we don't even know if that's the reason. Coming in as a purely Two Blue Vortex fan, isolated from everything else, it could be that, or it could be because he promised his dad that he'd protect his sister, and if he failed that promise, he'd be going back on his word, and that promise to him could mean a lot, or his dad could mean a lot to him for some reason because of something that his dad or that promise has done for him or given him. It could be the relief or comfort that his sister provides him. It could be something purely selfish. Maybe his sister made a promise with him or owes him something, and his sister can't die until that action has been completed, such as his sister giving him something, like a present, a physical item, object. I don't care what it is. The thing is, the audience, don't know. I mean, Kamui, you and I have an idea, but the point is, the target audience shouldn't know when they should.
I'm actually
they don't. When they
I
should.
forgot. I was thinking about it earlier today. I wanted to make a poll. I'd be like, are there any Two Blue Vortex only fans like right now? Like, is there anyone who just hasn't read part 1 at all that reads Two Blue Vortex?
There's got to be, because there's actually a surprising amount of fans who started with Boruto.
See, that's what I was saying. So then, how many started with Two Blue Vortex? Because if anyone watching, did you do it? Because if you did, how much of the story are you following? You know, like even like starting with Shippuden would be weird, but like I feel like even that would be less weird.
Yeah. And then
The difference with
arguably,
that one though is it's not actually two different stories in the manga. It's literally the same manga.
the biggest problem of this whole thing, and that's wild for me to say, considering everything we've said up to this point and how much of a problem all of these problems are. So Jura's supposed to be the antagonist, right? Assumingly, let's just assume that, right? So then Boruto's the protagonist, okay? Let's assume that. Why is Himawari confronting Jura right now? Why is
I know, like
Boruto's not even confronting someone else? Why is Boruto chilling, doing nothing? Okay, sure, he's resting, recovering after the Carbazil shenanigans fiasco. How long is that going to take? And if it's going to take a long time, sure, fine. Can we see him be frustrated about it? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I still think they should have done more in this chapter, but at least in the next chapter, like, they need to do that.
Now, this could be, this kind of works, and you're gonna think this is so goofy, it's actually funny. What if Jura isn't the antagonist? Boruto's the protagonist. What if, you're gonna laugh. What if the antagonist is this mysterious world? So in this case, because there's different types of stories, you know, there's character versus self, character versus character, character versus environment. What if this is just character versus world? So everyone is the antagonist.
The world just wants to be mysterious. I mean, so an alternative thing here is that Jura and all the Shinjuu by extension are just being the villains, while Kawaki is the antagonist. Um, that is a possibility
Yeah.
based off the theory. Mind you, a theory. I don't think we should ever be in this situation where we're theorizing the future to figure out who the antagonist of the arc is. But the idea that Kawaki may essentially screw Boruto over in a way, get Momoshiki to manifest, to paint his story the way he wants, that would be like an antagonistic thing to do, obviously.
I agree, but right
And if you're
now,
having this parallel
doesn't seem like
story
they're
about
doing
the
that now.
identity thing, that works. But my problem is we've gotten so little from Kawaki, I feel like, that it's like almost hard. Like, what are there any examples of arcs where just like one of like the villain is taking all the focus for like the first half of the arc before the antagonist does anything? Like, are there any examples of that? Like,
Well, you're not gonna like this answer because no, but Hidan and Kakuzu, you could argue Hidan's the one that did everything, but Kakuzu was clearly portrayed as the stronger one in that first confrontation, that he almost stole the focus in a way. The fact that he didn't do anything, but his presence was so felt the entire time, you could argue that. If you like that as an idea, but plus, like, Kakuzu is the villain, whereas Hidan is the antagonist, so
that's the problem. That's the reverse in that case.
yeah.
So like that's kind of like Gaara, where Gaara doesn't actually do his thing until Konoha Crush for the most part. He's just like in the background. Like, obviously he does things, like he fights Rock Lee, for example, but like to a large extent, he's just a rising thing in the background. Whereas Neji kind of gets the focus, at least on Naruto's end, in the prelims there. But yeah, but that's backwards. So in this case, we're having the villain do everything early, and then the antagonist is just in the background.
At least with the Gaara case, he doesn't do the plan until the end, but he like freaking like foreshadows the plan, which is tension. It's mysterious. We don't know what is happening with him, but like, oh my god, something's going on with Gaara. That's crazy. And oh my god, is it gonna happen now? And you're just constantly asking.
Yeah.
What is gonna happen?
And I mean, this is almost like ironic because Boruto's just like, I don't want to say not in this arc. Maybe it's just like a second prologue. This is not an arc. But yeah, the problem is the way the arc starts. I feel like Boruto has to be the protagonist. So like, I can't say it's Himawari because Himawari is just not in this arc for the first 3.5 chapters. Yeah. 4 chapters. That's not normal, especially if that's supposed to be like a quarter to a third of the arc already.
Oh god.
Like,
you're gonna hate this and love this and laugh. I think my previous meme answer, I think I'm just gonna seriously, unironically go with that for now, to where the world is the antagonist, and currently everyone in the world that has identity issues is the protagonist. This goes for Himawari, Boruto, Kawaki, and Jura, and everyone else at the same time. But unironically, seeing Jura and everyone else as the protagonist right now works. Because they're all trying to figure out why this world is mysterious or find their place in this mysterious world. Getting Naruto is an obstacle, and the goal, and the conflict. And changing your target to Himawari is the farthest you can get from the goal of eating Naruto. It's also the midpoint. It radically shifts the story into a different direction. It's the false victory.
He also changed his target before then, though. Before the midpoint. So the midpoint would have to be like chapter 9 when he decides to change his mind.
I guess I'm fine with that in this case. Because this also works for like the false victory, because maybe Himawari, or even you could say the midpoint could even be Team Ino Shikacho running away. So then the midpoint would be Jura realizing that he wants Team Ino Shikacho. Maybe that's the farthest from his goal and the false victory, because maybe he can't actually get anything through them, but he thinks he can.
Yeah, like he's gonna just start devouring Himawari and he realizes he doesn't get his answers.
Yeah, like you said, the world wants to be mysterious, but everyone else wants to find out about this mysterious world. And how do they do that? Well, they have obstacles. They're going on a journey. Jura's going on a journey right now. Everyone's trying to confront the world, to go against the world in a way, from being mysterious.
You know, everyone who's made the meme that Boruto's going to be the villain in the future, it's Boruto and Kawaki. Jura is the protagonist.